Hey guys, my name is Raven Phoenix and welcome to the Structure of Man Learn to Draw the Human Figure from your Mind Training course. Okay, so now in the previous lesson we had looked at the back view of the structure with the better understanding of the spine and the chest cavity and the sacrum. So now what we're going to do is create the front view. So basically when we create the front view, we're just going to really have to a bit of understanding of the sacrum and how the chest cavity is going to be constructed, and then with the front drawing we're now going to put the scapula. So basically we'll just come back to these drawings and add the scapula to finish them off. Okay, so for the front view it's going to be very simple, but here we're just going to better understand the rib system, the numbering system, and how the sternum is going to be placed. Okay, so to draw this out, we're basically just going to do the same thing. Just draw out here. I'm just going to draw it out again about here, space on the camera. Okay, so I know, right, it's the center line and bottom of the pec, the bottom of the chin, and then the navel, right? And here again we're going to just use that same idea of drawing using a very simple sketching system, because we know that that is the best process to always put down your drawings, because it gives you much more successful drawings, right? So when we're drawing this, we're really thinking about the forms of the figure. So here I'm just going to be much more sketchier with this, right? So so basically, if I just bring this down, right, you can just go like this, because I know it's going to be here, right? You can just now start assuming stuff. It's going to be here. So here, where the clavicle is, I know that it's just going to be over here, like this. I know that it's going to be around here. And then over here, if I divide this in 3 different parts, I also know that it's just going to come over here, just like this nice egg shape, right? So just make sure that when you're sketching it, right, don't start getting into details until you're sure that you've got everything laid out, right? Over here, now when we do the spine, it's the same exact thing, just like the back. Here we can just imagine it. We don't have to divide really much here. For the front, it's just going to be here, and then over here, it's going to be a little more different now, right? Because over here, we already know that it's going to be something like this from the back, right? It's going to be like this for the chest cavity. And we know that this here, it's now going to bulk towards us. So it's going to be something like this, right? Just put your general ideas down. It's going to be like this. Somewhat is going to start to go, because it's really that 1/3 over here that we know that the sacrum is just going to be here, like this, right? So this is going to be like this, and then this now is going to be going away from us, like this, okay? And then it's going to be coming towards us, but then it gets skinny over here, right? So it's really just a basic concept of just understanding, right? So you don't really have to worry about this, because you're going to be drawing the front, right? What matters is this understanding. Now when we draw out the sacrum, right, we know that, okay, it's going to be, we know that that line for the sacrum is here, and I know it's going to be just about the width of the head. So really I'm just going to draw it this way, make a curve down, and go like this, right? So here is going to be like all shaded in, just like this, right? And this is going to be the spine that's connecting, and we'll divide this in a little bit here. So let's just do the scapula over here. We know So now here, let's take a, since this is a bigger drawing, we can actually look at this in a little more detail here, right? So we know that I'm just going to draw out the box here for you here. Usually you can just do it with a line over here, right? You can just draw that X. So we already had discussed this, that over here we're just going to come back in a little bit, right? So here, so if I do the clavicle like this, we know that we're going to get this, right? Because it's going to be like this, right? Later on when we look at the clavicle, it's going to go here. So we know it's going to go here if basically your ball joint is going to be about here, right? So here we'll do the same thing on this side here, right? So just sketch it out like this. Again, this is just to get the mind used to it. Remember, the scapula is not attached to the skeleton structure. It actually floats on it because of the muscles, right? So here, just to make sure, you can just measure this to make sure that you're going to get pretty much at the same exact size over here, right? Just double measure it. So here we already know that if we divide this over here like this, we know that, right, it's just going to be over here like so, and then here, then here, and it's going to be like this, right? Just get the basic ideas, lay out your drawing, basic concept of it. The ball joint is going to be here, right? Again, notice that I'm just doing everything light over here, right? Just like this. And over here it's going to be the same thing. Over here, I know that this is just going to come here like this, and it's going to come here, and then I'll be done with this, knowing that this comes out a little bit, and this is going to come out a little bit over here like this. Okay, so now let me actually do this a little darker so you can see. That's basically it, but you should just know how to do this now. Okay, so once we have this, we know that, okay, well, the fifth one is basically inside here like this, right? And then over here, this is really the fifth one. So I'm going to do it this way, this way, this way, right? And this will 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So once I have this, I just need to divide this up over here. So here I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, and then 11, right? So just do this lightly, right? Because you don't have to know what's going on here, just get this part right, because you'll see that it's just common sense, right? So here now I'm going to erase this part of the spine over here. Okay, so basically where the clavicle comes, you're going to have the sternum, and you can make it just about this size over here, right? And this sternum is just going to be divided like this, just make like a tie. And where this is, you just know that it's going to be coming over here like this, like it's the tie over here, and then you're going to get like a point of it, right? It's like the most basic concept of it. Okay, so once you have this, right, when we looked at the side, right, when we did this, we know that this is the seventh bone, right? So if you look at this, okay, so here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then over here, didn't finish this one off, which is 12. Okay, so this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? So this is the seventh one. Okay, so what this means is that I really just need to do the same thing here. I know that this is going to be the 7th one, this one. And over here, it's the same thing, right? You're going to get 6th, right? 7. Then you're going to get 8, 9. Then you're going to get the 10th one over here. Okay? So this one, when this stuff comes out like this, right? Basically, this theorem is going to be designed this way. So you're going to come out, it's the same concept, is that if you draw a line like this, the whole theorem system is going to have to fit in here. So it's going to be 7, this is going to be 8, 9, this is going to be 10. Okay? Going to be 10. And then you're going to get the 11th one over here, which hangs off, and then you're going to get the 12th one over here. 7. Okay, so this is going to be 8, 9, 10, then 11, and then the 12th one. Okay, so now we can just simply draw this out like this, right? And this is why it's important to sketch this stuff out, because this is a lot of intricate stuff. And it's important to just understand, okay, how does all this stuff work? Okay. Okay, so this is going to be over here. You know that this is just going to be here. Right, so there are two things that you should know. Where this junction is, this is the 11th one, and where you did this, this is the 7th one, right? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So these are like two concepts that you should just keep in mind for future reference. Okay, so this is going to be here, here, and this is going to be here. Okay, so here I'm just going to just make sure that I got all this correctly done before moving on. Okay, so now we obviously know that this is going to curve up and it's going to go back on this end over here, right? So it's pretty simple. So now when you draw this out, you're just going to curve them up like this. Okay, so they're going to go like this, and they're going to go back up curving. You don't have to connect it to the back. That's just going to make your make the drawing much more messy. When you're sketching it out, just do it this way first. It's going to go this direction, and then it's just going up. Okay, and you'll do the same thing on this end over here. So I'm just going to notice that how we can just use suggestion to get some of these concepts down. Then over here, this is the 5th one, right? You already know, right, that this one is going to be coming here, right? So now you can just make the 10th one over there, right? Because you can see it, that this one you will be able to see that it's just going to curve up like this. This is this one here, this is going to hang off, and then this is going to hang off. And that's basically the front. So now, since we have the whole concept down, we just need to erase very lightly here. Just keep these original lines down. And then start to put all the details down. So here I'm just going to start out by first creating the skull. I'm going to be just a little slow with this. Okay, so here, and from here to here, I'm gonna get the nose. Right, so it's up to you. As I mentioned, you can do the nose all along, or you can bring it down. Usually I'll just leave it like this, and we also already know about that box system. That, as you know, just understand the distance has to be equal, and just look at where you are. Right, just draw out the box so you can see how you're going to do this basically this is more like an oval shape, just like this. Okay, I'm going to be light with this now a little bit. So once I get some of these concepts, now again when I do this line, make sure it's under the center line, right? And then here we'll just come like this, and we're going to come like this over here. And over here we already know this is the chin. Right, there's two sections. You're going to get the mouth, and then here you're just basically going to get your jawline over here, right? Okay, so once I've made sure of this, I'm just going to make sure, sometimes I like to put it in, right? Okay, so here, once I've got these concepts down, I'm going to try to move a little fast with this. If I do too much detail here, it's just going to take forever. Okay, I just want you to see. Okay, so this is the front of the skull here, and now when we come over here, we can now, all we have to do is really just think about all these little details here. Right, so here just be as organic about it as possible. Right, there's really nothing to this. I'm just going to do it like this over here. Okay. So now when this comes down here, right, we already know this is the 7th one. This is going to be the 6th. Oh, sorry, 7, 8, 9. And then this is going to be the 10th one. Okay. So once you've got this whole contraption down, it's going to make sure I got it on the other side also. Right, so all this stuff that I'm showing you, right, it's all about the conceptual idea of it. As long as you can draw it and conceptually, you can make this as realistic as you want. It doesn't matter. Right, so this is the 7, 8, 9. This is 8, 9, and then 10. Okay, and then here you'll get this. So once I get this, all I have to do is now swing this around on the other side. Okay, here I'm actually doing this outline over here, but I'm just going to use suggestion because I want to draw this out. So I just want to be sure that I get this right. Okay, so here we're going to just draw the scapula of it here, right? We know that's just going to here. It's just going to hide back there. You don't have to draw it through. And then over here, we're just going to get this. So this will be the basics of the scapula, right? So it'll go in the back over there. I guess we can just draw it. And here's where your ball joint is going to be. So let's do the same thing over here. We're almost done with this. Okay, and then over here. and over here I'm just going to be suggestive, right, because I'm going to come back in. Now again, as I said, it doesn't have to be symmetrical, right? You want to make it look as organic as possible. So here, for this end over here, I'm just going to put those lines down and try to finish this a little faster. I don't like to make these videos too long. Okay, so we already know that, okay, this is the 10th one. It's going over here, it's going to connect over here. So here I'm just going to use now suggestion. I'm going to actually make these all black like this, right? So you already know that that's just going, I'm just going to lighten that up like this, right? Now you can go all the way back if you really want to, if you're drawing out a skeleton, but you know how to do that now, right? Because you understand how the back works, when it's going to work. So here I'm just going to go like this. To make them black. That's all that's needed over there, and then here we'll just quickly fill this in. And here I'm just going to, right, so I can come back in here and later just make these lines much more crisper. I'm going, all the drawings that I'm showing you are just conceptual style drawings, right? It's gotta, and that's one of the thing with drawing, is that if you're trying to make something look like it's a conceptual idea, you gotta draw it in this way, right? If you're gonna make something realistic, you gotta draw it in a realistic way. Okay. All this is just going to go here, right? So obviously, this 10th one is going to go here, right? And then this one is just going to curve in a little bit. This is the 11th one, and then over here, this is going to just hang out. Over here, just like this, okay? Then over here, it's like this, right? So you can see as to why we do the form in this way. We just close it up and we do it this way. It's because it's just compensating for this little curve here that happens after the band. Okay, and over here we already know that, okay, well, this is going to be the 12th one over here that we have drawn, right? Remember the just like this, the prongs are going in there, right? So you can now just eyeball this over here just a little bit, and then over here you're going to get those 7 ones. So here 1, 2, 3. So here I'm just highlighting that stuff here, and that's it, right? Should be good enough. Okay, so now you understand what's going on here and how to put this together, right? So all we have to do is now just finish this off over here. So one other thing here, I'm going to show you that you can even put these bands around these areas over here, right? Because they're like, for the spine, it's like held up like this, right? And you can refer to anatomical books to look at this even more detail, but the concept here is that you know how to draw the spine now, right? And you can add more additional info to this toolkit, right? So there are 2 types of toolkits. One is the toolkit that we started out, which is very simple, based on the human skeleton. This is the more detailed understanding of the toolkit, right? So here, I'm just going to draw this way here, draw it this way, over here, and just make that little thing here, right? So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it. So here we can even shade this area in. Okay. Okay, so we can just basically go in here and then make this even more detailed and clean it up. So since we already took a look at this, now what you should do is do the same thing here in the back, right? We've already been through this. Just measure where the bottom of the peg is, and it's the same thing. You draw it from the back view. Okay, that's something that you can do. You have the knowledge, and over here it's the same concept. You're going to do it like a book system over here. Okay, so I'll see you in the next lesson. Thanks.